So Apple TV Plus has started its new series, The Amazing Stories, which is based on the 1985 anthology series with the same name. Now, Steven Spielberg was the creator behind that, and he is back again with this reimagining of the show. Does it have that Spielberg magic or something else entirely? We're going to talk about that and much more. Season 1 of The Amazing Stories was titled The Cellar. While restoring an old Iowa farm home, Sam discovers a time portal in the storm cellar that transports him into 1919. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to my channel, Movie Files. Elliot back again with a brand new TV review, and today we're talking about Apple TV Plus Amazing Stories, Episode 1, titled Cellar. Very excited to talk about this first episode with you all in this non-spoiler review. Before we dive into it, guys, as you can see on the screen now, make sure you're following me on all my social media accounts where I talk movie news, TV news, I talk about the box office, and so much more. So definitely follow me there on all the social medias, as well as if you're new to this channel, make sure you subscribe to this channel, hit that bell so you don't miss any of my new videos, as well as share this video, give this video a thumbs up, really helps out the channel, and I also really appreciate it. And last but not least, make sure you leave your thoughts on this first episode in the comments below. What did you think of the performances? Were you a fan of the original series? Are you excited to see more of these episodes? Let's have some fun discussions in the comments below. As I had mentioned, this is a reboot, reimagining of the 1985 all the way to 1987. It was 2 seasons worth of The Amazing Stories created by Steven Spielberg, who directed 18 of the 45 episodes. He also had some great people involved with these episodes, the cast and crew. I mean, you had people like Kevin Costner, Patrick Swayze. You had directors like Clint Eastwood, Joe Dante, and Martin Scorsese himself. So I never watched the show. From the 80s, I've never even heard of it, The Amazing Stories, until last year or whenever they announced Apple TV Plus and that Steven Spielberg was going to bring this back. So that was my first time hearing about it. So knowing that it was coming out on Apple TV Plus, which, as you all might know if you've been a follower of mine of a long time, I've reviewed 95% of the stuff on Apple TV Plus currently, from the morning show, Servant, Dickinson, For All Mankind, all the shows I review. So definitely check out those videos when you're done watching this. So I'm a fan of Apple. You know, I have a iPhone, I have, the Apple earbuds. I'm a big Apple fan. So I definitely like to see these new shows. So I was very intrigued about this premise, where it kind of brings in, it's a comparison of kind of Black Mirror meets Twilight Zone, but a little bit more kid-friendly, because all of the episodes in the 80s, and from what I can gather for this new season, are all PG ratings. So very kid-friendly, a little bit more hope, a little bit more happiness around these episodes versus the dark and dread and a little bit more adult themes that we see in those other shows. So episode 1, guys, titled The Cellar, we have Dylan O'Brien, who's I'm a big fan of his, and you have Victoria Pedretti, who I am in absolute love with. I think she's amazing. It started off with seeing her in the Haunting on Hill House. I am the biggest fan of that show, and I reviewed that on my channel as well, so check that out when you get a chance. And she was recently on Netflix's You Season 2 as Love, and very interesting character, very different performance from her, but I like these two talented people. Chris Long was the director of this episode, he has a pretty impressive resume himself on television shows. So had all the makings for a really good premise. It's a love story. It involves time travel. There's some really good performances, and that's where I want to start this positive thing off with this review. Dylan O'Brien, man, like, this kid has what it takes to be a superstar. I think he's just right on the cusp of being more of a household name. I know Dylan O'Brien because I used to watch Teen Wolf many, many, many years ago, back when it was actually really, really good. I think they rebooted it at one point, but either way, the first 3 or 4 seasons of Teen Wolf was great, and he was fantastic as Styles, as kind of the comic relief on the show, but then he got a little bit more serious when they had that dark, or was it Void, for my Teen Wolf fans, was it Void Styles when he was evil? But either way, that kid is great. I'll admit it. I own all of the Maze Runner films. I enjoy those films for what they are. I like Wes Ball's direction. Very excited to see what he does with the reboot of Planet of the Apes. But I like Dylan O'Brien, man. And in this show, it really kind of showcases his charisma, his swag. This kid has a presence to him. And I like his performance in this role because it kind of shows you the duality of this character from the beginning to the end. He starts off as this millennial in 2019. He's on Tinder at the beginning of the episode. He doesn't doesn't really have a direction. He doesn't know what he wants to do. He has this he helps out his brother with these rehabs, and his brother's like, hey man, I want you to be a partner with this business. And Dylan's like, no man, I really don't want to do that. That's your dream, not mine. I really don't have a path. I'm just kind of going day by day type of approach. Which, you get that element. And then once he kind of meets, they have this storm in this house that they're rehabbing. He's in the basement. It takes him back into the past, where we meet Victoria's character, who's the complete opposite of Dylan's character. She doesn't have things to her disposal to distract her. She doesn't have much of control of who she wants to marry, what she wants to do. She can't even listen to music. There's a lot that she's limited to. So it was very interesting to see these characters kind of have these differences of where they are in their life, not only in their timeline, but where they are in their actual lives. So I like that type of that storyline of someone coming from the future to the past, and how someone from the past would react to that person. So I like their story that they kind of build. Their chemistry was pretty solid. It wasn't fantastic. It wasn't as great as I wanted it to be, but it was really solid for what it was. And I brought up Dylan O'Brien's character, but I got to bring up Victoria's character. She is from the past, and again, I'm a big fan of hers, and she just has this face to her, right? If you all have seen Victoria's performance from The Haunting on Hill House, and she has like this kind of scared face where she like looks kind of confused but scared at the same time. I think she's a great actress, and she was really solid in this episode. Again, she's someone from the past who can't make her own decisions, not because she doesn't want to, just because she can't. From her mom, and obviously during that times, women's rights were very limited. They couldn't do pretty much anything, even from listening to music, but I really liked her character and how things kind of switch up, right? And I don't want to give too much away in this episode, but how they kind of switch role reversals from someone from the future who has everything at the palm of their hands versus someone from the past who really doesn't have much of anything, and how those roles kind of switch in this episode. It was really fantastic. So there were some negatives with this episode. As I had mentioned, the chemistry was okay, but I felt like it was kind of forced. Their romantic story was nice, but these are only an hour episodes, and at times I feel like they kind of rushed the kind of romance and kind of their bond and their relationship there. And there were also some moments where I thought the dialogue wasn't all that fantastic. The pacing in the middle was a little bit off, as well as, you've seen this kind of story before. There's nothing kind of new. And I'm a big stickler when it comes to sci-fi and time travel, and I love time travel, and I like when time travel is not necessarily like exposition telling you every little detail about it, but I like it when it's a little bit explained. This time travel in this particular episode it made sense, but at the same time, it really didn't make sense as far as how certain things kind of played out, and I'll just kind of leave it at that. But all in all, I was very intrigued by this episode. It wasn't a great, like, oh man, you have to watch this first episode. If you don't have Apple TV Plus, you need it right now. But at the same time, I have the service. I would recommend you all checking out if you have Apple TV Plus. I wouldn't say that you have to sign up for this service just based on this one episode, but I would recommend you guys checking out Apple TV Plus for shows like The Morning Show, Servant, and some of the other shows. But this one in particular, it was an okay launch. I will continue to watch the remaining episodes, which, by the way, I'm confused about the strategy with these episodes. I don't know if they were supposed to release all of them at one time. When you look at the trailer says 5 unique stories, but then IMDb says 10 episodes, and then some episodes on IMDb said they released all 4. I'm very confused about how Apple TV is releasing this, but if it is a week-to-week type of thing, you can expect a review from me on each episode on this very channel. So I would say Cellar, if you have Apple TV Plus, check it out. It's a really interesting premise, nice love story. I love the 2 people involved in it. Not the strongest story, not the best explained time travel, but overall an interesting episode, and I'm very fascinated by why they chose this as their launching episode versus something a little bit more big or more sci-fi action heavy. But nevertheless, I will be back to check out episode 2 whenever it drops. So that's my thoughts on The Cellar. Let me know what you all thought of the episode once you get a chance to check it out. Give this video a thumbs up, comment below, share this video, subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my content. Make sure you're following me on all my other social media accounts. Check out my movie reviews that I have on my channel for Onward, The Way Back. I will be talking about the season finale of The Outsider and many more things coming on this very channel. So thank you all for watching this review, and we'll see you on the next one.